When I came out of rehab, I honestly didn't know who I was. I spent so many years in active addiction that my world became very small. Using drugs, finding ways to get drugs, finding ways to get money to use drugs. That was my life. And when I came out of treatment, I realized something strange. Even though I'd been to prison, even though I'd lived in rough places, even though I thought I knew about life, the truth was I knew very little about living. I didn't know how to have healthy relationships. I didn't know how to be in relationships. I didn't even really know what I liked to eat when I went into restaurants. And my head was loud, constantly telling me things like, what are they looking at? They don't like you. You don't belong here. And the truth is, some people might not like you. That's life. But most of what I was hearing wasn't the world judging me. It was my shame, my trauma, my low self-esteem. And thankfully, when I was in treatment, some people from Narcotics Anonymous came in and carried a message to me that changed my life. That any addict can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. And I didn't even know communities like that existed. Before that, I honestly believed that people like me either ended up in prison or dead. When I first started going to meetings, it wasn't easy. I still had low self-esteem. I was still trying to impress people, still driven by a lot of unhealthy stuff going on inside of me, but I kept going. I got a sponsor, I worked the steps, I was of service, and slowly something started to happen. For the first time in my life, I found connection. Friends who had lived like I had lived, people who had used like I had used, and people who had been through prisons and chaos like I had. And yet, here we were clean. There was laughter, there was friendship, there was a sense of belonging. And at the same time, I started to find meaning and purpose. For the first 3 years, I did volunteer work in the community, giving something back after taking for so long. During the day, I volunteered, and at night, I went to meetings. And slowly started to educate myself, learning, building something different. 3 years later, I got my first paid job. From there, the opportunities kept growing, leadership roles, management roles, helping people build services for people who were still suffering. But recovery suddenly didn't make my life perfect. There were struggles, relationships that worked and relationships that didn't. And I realized something important. Getting clean stopped the drugs, but it didn't automatically heal the trauma. So over the years, I kept doing the work. Therapy, breath work, somatic work, learning about trauma and how it lived inside me. I remember hearing Gabor Mate say something years ago that stayed with me. That trauma isn't what happens to us, it's what happens inside us. And that made sense to me because I realized I've been seeing the world through a lens of my past. So the journey kept going, learning, growing, healing. And today I'm over 20 years clean and my life is something I never imagined was possible. I have friendships, I have purpose, I have a loving marriage. And my meaning in my life today is simple, trying to create value in the lives of other people. But if you're watching this and you're struggling, or you've just come out of treatment and you feel lost, I want you to know something. That feeling is normal. Recovery doesn't start with everything being clear. Recovery starts with showing up, finding your people, building honest friendships, having somewhere you belong. For me, that was Narcotics Anonymous. And even though I'm not as active in the fellowship today, I still work a program and I'll always advocate for people to find some sort of community. It doesn't have to be an AOK, but it does need to be some group of some people because addiction isolates us and recovery connects us. And the other big thing is finding meaning and purpose, something to get out of bed for in the morning. For some people, that's volunteering. For some others, it's work. For some, it's helping other people. But purpose gives recovery direction. And one last thing, walking into a treatment centre or walking into a meeting for the first time, that's not the end of the journey. That's just the beginning. Recovery is built in the years that follow. Getting your first job, getting housed, learning how to have friendships, learning how to sit in relationships without substances. And sometimes that can be uncomfortable, but that's also where the growth is. Because recovery isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming real. And listen, I'm still just a lad that came from the streets. You can take the boy out of the street, but you can't take the street out of the boy. But what recovery did give me was a life. And if you're struggling right now, just know this: a different life is possible. Have a great day, everybody. Good night. Bye.